I want you to know how important it is for you to be counted in the 2010 census. When you are able to give the information to the census officers who come to your door, it helps California, it helps your city, it helps your county, because this is what the government uses to send money for health care. We didn't have enough H1N1 flu shots because we didn't have enough people counted in the census. It helps send money to schools, it helps send money to libraries. So please, when the census comes to your door, give them the information and be counted. It's important.
Can I trust that my privacy will be protected?
Absolutely. The Census Bureau cannot and will not share any of your answers with anyone or any other government agency. Your responses are kept safe by law. Every census worker takes an oath, swearing to keep all information confidential. Breaking this oath results in a $250,000 fine and up to 5 years in prison. The Census Bureau takes extreme measures to protect the information we collect, starting from the point that the data are collected and continuing through for decades after the statistics are published.
I have two hats that I wear here in San Rafael. One is as a long-range planner. I work for the City of San Rafael in the Community Development Department, and I'm also a trustee on the San Rafael Board of Education. And this year I'm president of the Board of Trustees. It's so important that everybody in San Rafael get counted this year. I saw the difference back in 2000, in the year 2000, when the population count in San Rafael went over 50,000. And when a city gets more than 50,000 people counted in the census, they qualify to get CDBG grant funds. And this is a chunk of cash that can be used by the city for things that they want to improve. So, for example, in 1999, this money, the CDBG funds, were distributed by the County of Marin. Because San Rafael went from having 48,000 people to over 50, they qualified to be able to distribute that money themselves, the city council. So they had access to another $350,000 every year to distribute because we had a good count in the year 2000. So I want people to stand up and be counted when they get the forms.
And the money, that the $350,000, that was used for what purpose?
Well, before the county distributed it, so they made their decisions. But when the city council got it, most recently what they decided to do with this money is make infrastructure improvements, make improvements to the sidewalks in the city so that they are accessible to people who are disabled. So throughout the city we see at the intersections, new sidewalk improvements going in for people who are in wheelchairs and people who are blind. And this is happening all over San Rafael over a period of about 5 years. And this is a decision our city council made that was the best for everybody in our city to have safer ways to cross the street. And frankly, it's not just for people in wheelchairs, but moms with strollers and little children, and it just makes it easier and better to cross the street. So that's how the money's being used right now. Every year we get more, so in a few years when we made these improvements, council will be looking at other things they can spend this money on. Well, there is money that comes to the schools because of the census count for low-income families, and it is called Title I. So Title I education funding makes a huge difference to our school district. We get $700,000 because of the count in the year 2000. There's also money that comes for Head Start. In both our elementary and our high school district, we get almost $1 million every year because of the count of children in our community in the year 2000. We want to make sure they get counted again in 2010 so we can keep getting all the funds that we deserve.
All the children.
All the children, yes, every single little one.
First of all, say thank you to you and Grassroots Leadership Network for the invitation to be here and to speak here. From Supervisor Steve Kinsey's office, we'd like to support the efforts that the community is engaged in right now in terms of the census, and we want to emphasize how important it is for all community members across the board to report to the census, be counted. It's really important, especially nowadays when our economy is really looking a little stressed out, that everyone be counted so that we can have a full understanding of how to help as good government should.
On April 1st, 2010, our nation will be counted. Every person, whoever they are, wherever they live. And what we learn will transform what we know about ourselves. The 2010 Census, it's a new portrait of America. The 2010 Census is an exciting milestone for America. It promises to deliver accurate information about our diverse and growing population. And it's important for the future of every community. Census data will be used to allocate over $300 billion in federal funds every year.
The 2010 Census will be important to the nation because it is the foundation of our democracy.
The census, no matter when it is the consummate partnership between local, state, and federal government.
Communities use the data to plan for their future, like disaster and emergency services, healthcare services, schools, transportation, libraries, senior centers, and more. The 2010 Census builds on the success of previous censuses and is the best planned and most well-researched census ever. And innovations, like a new short census form, will help to make it even more successful. The 2010 Census, it's easy to complete. Data are always confidential and safeguarded. It's important.
This census is a commitment to the American way of life. To be counted as a resident of the United States, I think, is one of the proudest things that can happen to you in this country. It's important. Stand up for yourself, be counted, let people know you're out there.
The 2010 Census, it's a new portrait of America.